I have done these kind of talks earlier, but it's good that now institutes like FABS are also joining in, and this is extremely valuable. Actually, as I can see that when I was in college, when there were these kind of talks were arranged from within somebody from a startup industry or somebody from a from any kind of company came in. So it gave some perspective in terms of what can we expect out there in the world. And my effort would be to actually impart that kind of insight to you. I don't know how helpful it would be, whether I would be the right person to do this, but whatever experiences I have gained so far, I would like to just contribute to you, and it's up to you how you use it and make up what you make out of it. So I'll just present my screen, simply just to give you some oversight about what I'm going to talk about. But it would be great if you can focus upon what I'm speaking about. So that would be more helpful for you rather than getting entangled in the presentation. So I think as Yamini introduced, so I am an aeronautical engineer. I was pursuing aeronautical engineering with Risha, which is one of the co-founders of BharatRohan. And in those early days, when we were actually the graduates in college, studying aeronautical engineering college, we used to go to the nearby farmer fields and used to fly our drones over their farms. And that's when we got to interact with a lot of farmers there. So because we were using their field as a testing ground, so they came up to us and asked us what we are doing and what we are trying to achieve out of this. And that is when we actually got to know their problems. We shared what we are doing, and they also shared what they have been doing on those fields. So they then basically helped us to actually understand what their problems are. And one of the major problems that they actually spoke about was the inefficiency in the system, wherein whenever they see pest attacks or disease outbreak on the field, they can only identify when there is a visible manifestation of that particular crop issue. And they take that the plant or the leaf or take the photograph, whatever is suitable for them, to a local retailer. The retailer would just tell them, spray X pesticide in this much quantity. And then it's often that has been perceived was that whatever they have been recommending was something that was more remunerating for them, something that had more profits for that retailer. It did not have much to do with the kind of solution that it could actually pose, whether the farmer would actually be able to reduce the crop issue. And there was always some excuses, like if the control has not been done, retailer can always say that it was already so much damage, now it is irreversible, you did not apply in the right quantities. So there are a lot of inaccuracies in types of some such kind of recommendations and advisories. We thought of as aeronautical engineers, what can we do? Like it's agriculture per se. So what can we do? So that's something that we tried to find out. And in our curriculum itself, there was a there's always remote sensing is a subject that is taught. It's a very small topic for us in aeronautical engineering. It's even in the books, only one page is dedicated to about remote sensing. So, but we thought of this is extremely valuable too, and particularly for agriculture, we can actually exploit this much better, and we can go much deeper into this. And that's when we got to interact with a lot of scientists, a lot of agronomists, a lot of remote sensing experts, and eventually, while researching on this topic, we happened to meet a professor in University of California, Davis. So he was he spent his around 4 or 5 years in pursuing PhD in hyperstick imaging, especially for agriculture. His name was Dr. K.V. Singh, and his name is Dr. K.V. Singh. And he was very much enthusiastic about providing such kind of knowledge to us in helping us to actually build the entire model and system for the data analytics. So what we then did was that we we used our own knowledge that we gained in the college about aeronautic engineering. So we built the drones, and used the right kind of equipment like the drones, mounted them with our mounted with the different kind of other spectroscopy instruments like hyperspectral cameras. So we put them together and then acquired the data, which is basically spectral reflectance from the farms. So whatever light is getting reflected from the plants, we collected that through our drone and hyperspectral imagers, and the data that we captured was then analyzed by our new partner in the team, Dr. KDC. So he helped us to analyze it initially, and then helped us to build the model so that we can sustain that in the years to come. So initially, this is how we got started, basically. So I think one most important part of being an entrepreneur is to actually find right resources, to find the right people who can actually help you out in doing or achieving what you do, and also to be able to communicate your vision and mission, and what we are trying to actually achieve. So this is something that I learned early on in those times. Uh, so that's how we then later on incorporated the company you know in 2016. Just after I think 1 year of this research, we started the company fully fledged, and now we're serving more than 6,000 farmers now, and which is and serving around 20,000 acres of area. So let's come back to the problems that we're trying to address. So everybody would know this, that India is home to more than 200 million hungry people, and the losses amount to be, because of the pest and disease outbreaks, amount to be around $500 billion. Yet farmers face this pressure to cultivate crop with reduced chemical usage. They face pest attack and disease outbreak on the farms, but we as consumers are because now health, safety, and all the other parameters are coming in, and people are becoming more aware about the side effects and harmful effects of pesticides. So they are pressurized to cultivate crop with reduced chemical usage. But what can farmers do? So they don't have enough resource to actually identify whether they can reduce, how they can actually reduce the chemical usage. And even if they have that resource, the incentives in the system are not sufficient for them to actually go with and chemical-free cultivation. So we are thinking and working on this particular term, wherein we're trying to reduce this chemical usage, as well as support the farmers in actually reducing this kind of changing their practice, actually, which can help them cultivate the crop with reduced chemicals. Also, the institutional buyers are there in the market, who are looking for these free farm products. So if farmers particularly are able to cultivate crop with the less amount of chemicals, institutional buyers are there to purchase it. But how would they actually go to the farm level and purchase for a 500, 600 crore company, for such large organization? It's actually very difficult for them to buy from smaller farmers in different locations. So that becomes very inefficient for them. However, if the quality that they are able to provide, if they are able to provide, could be suitable for them, because they are facing this rejection in the foreign markets. Whenever they're supplying their product to the export market, they face rejection, wherein the lots get rejected because of the high chemical usage in their lots that are being sent. So what also they require is that there's a lack of user-friendly digital tool to monitor and monitor the crop, which so that they can ensure the traceability and the sustainability throughout the crop production. As well as, as I mentioned, the direct farmer outreach is very minimal at the moment. And there are multiple incidents where assignments have been rejected, as I spoke about. So overall, what we are now doing is that we are providing drone-based crop monitoring services, wherein we fly the drone over the farms every 7 to 15 days, depending on the crop stage of the of the crop. Then we also enroll farmer in an outdoor program, wherein farmer is provided with all the technology based services and right from the stage of pre-sowing until the harvest. We also sell the agri inputs to them so that they can actually, whatever we are recommending can actually be utilized and can actually be traced and tracked on the farm. And which actually contributes to our traceability platform, wherein each and every action that is being taken on the field can be traced and then could then be sold to the companies which are actually looking for the farm produce. So these are the 4-step solutions that we actually are developing. The crop monitoring is basically, as I mentioned, is remote sensing, hyperstick imaging, which actually identifies the problem before any visible symptom appears in the plant. So this enables us to actually detect very minuscule color changes in the plant even before disease is just on the onset. And this basically is useful for the farmers to take necessary action within the right time so that they can reduce their chemical losses, chemical uses, as well as reduce the crop losses. So that is one of the major aspect of the crop monitoring solution. In the outdoor program, we begin the services with the farm geotagging and then provide all the basal dosage required and according to the crop that they're cultivating, according to the soil that they have. Then we provide the certified seed delivery. All the seeds are delivered to the farmers at the farm gate. Farmers are also provided with the periodic weather forecast and advisory. And when the crop is ready for the ready after germination, so around 30-40 centimeter height of the plant, we begin the drone-based crop monitoring, wherein every 7 to 10 days they are provided with the advisory, and we sell the agri input to them at the farm gate through our own village level entrepreneur network. And when the crop is ready for the harvest, we buy back the produce, grade it, sort it, and sell it to a larger buyer. So that is overall what we do in that particular aspect. In terms of traceability, as I mentioned, that we trace each and every activity that is followed on the ground. So we map that through a QR code. So by scanning a QR code, farmers can, so the customer can actually see all the actions that have been taken on the farm, and each farmer is provided with a QR code itself. And all the customers who purchase from us are provided with a dashboard wherein they can have access to different kind of modules. They can plan, schedule their different kind of actions. They can understand what kind of advisory is being provided, what kind of drone or satellite-based reports are there, what kind of agri inputs are going into the field, and then they can purchase and make indents for that. We are working in multiple revenue streams. So we earn revenues from different channels. One is the sale of agri produce to the larger buyers. Second is the sale of agri inputs to the farmers. Then we also provide some target marketing to some agri-chemical companies, as well as to some agri-intelligence services to some seed companies. We are working with one of the major FMCGs and retailers in the industry. We have various agri input companies who are working with us. So that's how we are operational. So overall, all the efforts are basically to make farmers climate resilient, to actually make their farming sustainable, to reduce their crop losses, to reduce their cost of cultivation, reduce their agriculture input, increase their profit margins so that they can sustainably produce the crop with less impact on the environment. So one of the major impacts that I can talk about is that it's clearly seen when we are on the ground. So a farmer just who's using the advisory, is taking all the actions at the right time. So this farmer on the right was provided with the brown plant hopper alert, and as a result, his crop was saved. And as you can see on the right, it's ready for the harvest. But just farmer adjacent to it, his crop was completely damaged because of hopper bird. And that is the kind of impact that we deliver. That crop is saved very significantly in the early stage itself, so that we can have better yields. Um, One of the major impacts also contributes to their overall profit margins. So saving in the agri input is significant, as well as then the amount of losses that actually contribute to the additional revenue are extremely remunerating for the farmers who work with us. We are supported by various organizations. We recently got some investment from Upaya Social Ventures and Acumen. Then we have been funded by AIDEA through their seed support program. And then we have received several grants and convertible loans. We are also having some supply chain finances from major players like ICC banks and India. We're a team of aeronautical engineers, agronomists, and remote sensing experts, and we are growing rapidly right now and looking for new people to join. We are basically targeting most of the institutional buyers in the export market, as well as looking to partner with multiple NGOs, farmer producing companies to help us scale from there on. So that was a brief from my end. I would be happy to answer any of your questions. I would be happy to answer anything if over to you, I mean.
Yeah, those who are having the questions, they can unmute and ask the questions to sirs.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can drones hear conversations, sir?
Sorry?
Can drones hear conversations between communications, interaction?
Interaction between whom?
Means drones can hear the conversations between two persons.
It depends what kind of drone you are making. So if you have if you mount such kind of equipment onto it, then so they can hear the conversations also. So drones are nothing but a medium. So they are not the means itself. So whatever the kind of equipment you mount it, which is called as payload, so then you can make it suitable for any other application. It's a drone is kind of a platform. That's basic.
How much speed it can manage, sir?
Speed of drone.
Yeah, Jagdish, you can ask proper question. You are mute. Unmute yourself and ask question.
How much speed can manage the drone, sir?
No, it's see, speed is again, all these are subjective questions. Like speed of drone, as much as you want to, depends on the kind of rotors that you are building. Our drones fly at 15 meter per second, but it depends what kind of drone you are flying.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think I am stopping somebody. Amandeep, my name is Mahipal. I work as a associate professor here. My question is like, when we implement this kind of a technology, let us say drone technology or maybe some other technology, actually there are a lot of factors which are going to help us in, spreading the technology easily among the consumers. So you are almost like a 5+ years of organization and you are doing a great work in North India. So what do you feel where probably if somebody wants to enter into the same technology, maybe in South India, maybe in some other places, what are the factors that they need to really work before they enter into this kind of a technology diffusion business?
So technology, you mean by any kind of technology, or is it you're specifically talking about drones?
No, I mean to say the similar technology that you are using for the farmers.
I think so for any technology to penetrate into the farming community, they need proofs. So you cannot just go there and tell them that from now on I will be providing you this service and you have to follow this advisory. And actually, we thought that way when we started the company. So we thought that we'll just go to the farmers and we fly the drone and we'll give out some advisory and they'll follow it. But that doesn't happen. So what we need to do is that we need to set up multiple demo plots. And one of the methods that we actually adopted was initially we started with around 42 farmers. We got their contact from a local research institute, which was CSER CMAP, which is National Medicinal Aromatic Plants. So we approached those 42 progressive farmers spread across different villages. Now they were also not very adaptive to new advisory. So we suggested that out of your 2-acre, 3-acre farm, give us only 1/10 portion of your farm, or like a biga or two, and in that area, follow the advisory that is being provided by us. We'll fly the drone over to your entire farm, but you follow the advisory only on the that 1 biga portion of your land, and you'll see the difference. So 1 season, 2 season, they did that the same thing, and they saw that result eventually, that the yield in the area that they provided to us, where they followed our advisory, had around 20-30% improvement compared to their remaining field. So what eventually they started to use the advisory on the entire farm, entire of their farm, like entire 2-acre farm. And seeing that the other farmers in the village also approached us and wanted to have the advisory. So this is how we actually try to disseminate the advisory on the farmers by actually showing them the results rather than just talking about it, or just trying to impose them and force it to them. And then we took those farmers to other villages, gave them took their testimonials, and other farmers also started to see it, that okay, if it has worked on their farms, it is going to work on our farm also. So like that, it spread across. Thank you so much. It's a great question. I have these 2 questions that I am getting on chat. Can I take those? So
yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you can take it.
Yes, they are from Harish. So he is asking, does these drones have any specific crop protection formulation or any pesticides available in the market that can be flexible for them to spray? So no, the answer is no. Although some companies are working on it, but they are not widely available commercially. Drone-based pesticides are not common for now. But actually, that is the need of the hour, because if we have nano formulations, we can do away with the smaller quantities. And because drones currently have a limit of carrying around 10 to 15 liters in their tanks for the aerial spraying. So if we have nano formulations, we can actually use that across larger area. But as of now, those are not available. His second question is, does BharatRohan sell drones to farmers, or they supply on rental basis? We don't do any of these. We just provide them drone-based services free of cost. And then we make the revenues through sale of their agri commodity. Whatever they are actually cultivating, we purchase that and sell it to a larger buyer. And that's how we make our money. And second way is when we sell the agri inputs to them. We are now working on a model wherein we are going to partner with FPCs and sell them the drones, which they can get financed from our partner financial institution, and then they can actually use it to provide services to their farmers. They can fly the drone over their farm fields and acquire the data. They can send that data to BharatRohan. BharatRohan will analyze it and send out the reports, and then they can provide services to their farmers. So that kind of franchising model is something that we are currently working on, and soon that would be launched. Yeah, I hope I answered your question. Anything else?
Yes, sir. Hi, sir. I'm Ritu Bhargavi. My question is, why drones are more famous in North India than in South India? Why the farmers in South India won't use more drone technology?
Hi, Ritu. Good to see you. I think one I think I feel different in that aspect. I have seen more people adopting to drone-based crop monitoring in southern India, particularly drone-based spraying and all these activities, compared to northern India. But it's not even about southern and northern India. It's just about the farmers. Adaptation has been quite low, and then there have been very limited amount of companies or startups who have been working actually specifically for agriculture. There are a lot of companies who work on agriculture using drones, but they are working on 20 other segments as well. So there's very less companies who are deeply focused on agriculture. And I'm proud to say that BharatRohan is one of those companies which is focused on agriculture and trying to provide service to larger farming community. But yeah, I think we need to scale the operations. We need to have various other factors. We need new partners like farmer producer companies. We need NGOs. We need to increase our reach. We also need our own resources like some new investments. So yeah, I think that is what is needed.
Hello.
So I have a question from Veerbhadra. He's asking that agrochemicals which are used for farm as per dosage we recommend 200-liter water volume per acre for any agrochemical. So how we manage with drones and with using this, can we get that efficiency? So let me just be clear that BharatRohan is not involved into drone spraying business. We are only into crop monitoring. And I agree with this completely. We have 200 liters of water that we actually add for an acre, and so basically that means around 6-7 tanks of that boom spray or knapsack sprays that we actually carry out. It's not possible to get that efficiently done with drones because a single tank holds 15 liters of water, and then doing this multiple times on the same 1 acre land is going to be very cumbersome. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of resources. Multiple battery replacements have to be done. We have to charge it multiple times. So it's not efficient. So I am of the same belief, and that's the reason why we actually have not been able to, actually not been doing this activity, which is using drones for the spraying. But eventually, this has to change. So a lot of advancement has to be done in this area, and so we'll be working on those where we can improve the capacity, at least if not the capacity, then you have some nano chemicals which can be used in the spraying of the drones activities. So, Prithvi also had a question. He's asking, can you tell about the permits needed to fly the drones? I will not stress more upon it. Actually, these policies keep on changing. You can read that on the DGCA website. So there are CAR rules, civil aviation rules that have recently come up, but they have now been very lenient on this. So there are a lot of categories that they have now created, and for agriculture purposes, they are for most of the times we don't even need some permissions. So that is quite lenient in that case, but we do have to get our drones registered, and that is one important aspect. And then flight is also required to be conducted by a certified pilot. So those requirements.
Sir, because these drones are electronic equipment, they are unable to fly during these rainy seasons, and most of the drones, what we have seen are having limited operating time because they're actually powered by batteries. So how would we tackle these problems in the coming future?
So there are waterproof ratings also with the drones. So it's not necessarily that we cannot fly it. A little bit showers are okay, but yeah, heavy rain is going to be difficult for the flight. But I think that does not restrain us because, say, what flexibility drones provide is that, say, today is a rainy day. You see that it's not raining right now, so you can quickly fly the drone, get the data, and bring it back. For it hardly takes 10 to 15 minutes for you to acquire 50, 60 acres of data using a drone. So I think that would be very easier to do. You just have to find a 15-minute window, half an hour window to get the data, which is very much different from satellites. You cannot do this with satellites. So satellites will take their data whenever they have been programmed. And even if there is a cloudy weather, so any which way you cannot get data on that day. But we have that flexibility on with the drones. So that's how you will navigate on that.
Yes, sir. And how would we tackle this battery operating drones, because this operating time is very low? So this, can we expect some fuel running drones in the?
Yeah, I got your questions. Yeah, so definitely fuel operated. There are petrol powered engines which we can use. So definitely those are things to go for. But mostly the proliferation industry in the industry is with the battery powered drones itself. But yeah, eventually for a better endurance, for better flight time, we can use petrol engines, diesel, whatever is available, whatever we can get our hands on. Even and just to give you some insights, so we during our final year of college, we actually built a solar plane. Although it was not successful, we crashed it into a building, but we have been able to actually achieve some 3-4 minute flight with that solar plane. But and I think that is also something lined up. So we can also expect in few years' time, solar powered drones that we can use, particularly for agriculture. So imagine a time wherein right from say from 9 a.m. until sunsets, 4 p.m. you can fly thousands of acres in a single day and get so much data every day. So I think that is also something that is going to happen. Years to come. So even solar powered planes are something of the future.
How much wind speed can the drone manage?
10 to 15 meters per second. I think that is something. And actually, it also depends on the kind of the weight of the drone that you have, the kind of power it has. So we cannot give a single answer, but it changes from drone to drone.
Sir, how many years can be required for farmers to adopt this drone technology? I mean, about 50% of the farmers, Indian farmers. How
Sorry,
many years should be required for
I
this?
can't hear you, Shanmukh.
He's asking that the Indian farmers are very small, having the small area. So what is the minimum requirement of area for using the drone technology?
What is the minimum requirement of
Area.
area? Okay. See, a single drone, in a normal wind condition, which is 10 meters per hour, can fly up to say 45 to 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour, and we can capture around 150 to 200 acres of area in that duration. Okay. So now this is a single sortie. So once I put a fully charged battery in a single sortie, we can capture this much area. So at least we should have that much area in a single village. So what we do is we enroll farmers in clusters. So that cluster of that farmer should have this 150 to 200 acres of area. Typically, that is a village. The entire village we would have this much area, and we will fly our drone over that entire village. And then for us, what would be feasible is that if we can do such kind of areas, get around 4 to 5 such kind of areas. So that would be basically 1,000 acres of area in a single day. So you fly around 4 to 5 hours in a day, So if you get such 4 or 5 clusters, so that you can fly 1,000 acres in a single day. So that's the kind of math that we actually use to make that happen. So in a single sortie, you should have at least 150 to 200 acres of area to make it economic.
Okay, thank you. Yes, students, anyone having the question, they can ask.
I have a question in chat. India is having more marginal farmers than any other country. How are you going to implement the technology you started in these fields? Since the land are small and manageable by their home labor. So home labor, how can they manage? So we are not doing the labor work. So what we are actually doing with drones is identifying the crop issue in the early stage before even there is a visible manifestation. So that is not being done by any kind of labor, even farmers themselves. So our approach is to help them with the drone-based crop diagnosis in the early stage, irrespective of their size of land. There are farmers in Canada which have 10,000 acres of area. They still, it's a very general notion that these farmers would be using drone-based crop monitoring services for their farms. Even they do not. So they do not even adopt a drone-based crop monitoring. They don't even use any other remote sensing method. So for small and marginal farmers, again, it is extremely relevant for them to actually adopt this because they have very small area of land, and to make that efficient, they have to implement certain technologies that could actually bring them some profit margins. Otherwise, it's not economical for them to actually cultivate 1 acre of land. So what they need to do is, as we have figured out, that they can approach through a cluster, like as I mentioned earlier, that they can collectively work with us. And when we provide the advisory, that suppose in 1 acre of land we identify a 3 meter by 3 meter portion of the land, which is going to be affected by jade blight on their protected field, they can go and spray the mancozeb kind of a fungicide on the farm, and that can control that infestation in the early stage itself, rather than that getting spread across their 1 acre plot. So that's how they can control it. And with manual labor, that kind of identification is not possible because they can only identify whatever is available visibly through their naked eye, not any diagnosis.